Hello, this is the old guy. When this lens started shipping back in 1989, most of you were probably not born yet. But at that time, Canon was the industry leader. Now the tables have turned and Canon came in late to the mirrorless market. But with their new releases, they kind of caught up with the other brands, especially Sony, which is now the industry leader. It seems like Canon stopped crippling their cameras, but did they cripple something else? Their lens mount. They don't allow third-party lenses, and their lens lineup is not that good. Their argument for having a great lens lineup is that the EF mount lenses can be used on their new mirrorless cameras without penalties with an adapter. But from this day on, Sony can brag about this too. Adapters has been made for Sony for EF mount in a while, and the best of them is the Sigma. It offers perfect autofocus for stills, but in video, only Sigma lenses are supported. There's the Metabones too, but it's kinda slow and sluggish on both video and photos. But then this dropped, the 7 Artisans adapter, which also allows EFS lenses, something that the other adapters like the Sigma couldn't do. And this one actually works flawlessly. Only the autofocus motor in the lenses seem to be the bottleneck of their performance. Sony already have the biggest lineup of lenses if you count in the third-party options that are available. They allow all third-party manufacturers to add to the pool, while Canon legally has stopped third-party manufacturers making lenses for their mount. At the same time, their lens lineup in their new R mount is not that great. They kind of depend on the EF lenses still. Now the Sony can use those too. If you're invested heavily in the EF glass using Blackmagic 6K Pro or cinema cameras with EF mount, you can add a Sony to a collection to have autofocus in circumstances where autofocus is needed, without any penalties, without buying anything else but the Sony body. And just as we thought that Canon's cripple hammer was about to get placed in the ground, they crippled the lens lineup with a decision to leave out all third-party manufacturers and giving Sony even more power among consumers. Yes, the new cameras are really good and in some areas are better than the Sonys. But overall, if you take account of lenses and features and not only looking at the hardware of the cameras, Sony still beats Canon by a mile. Now the redundance of color science is the only argument left. Man up, Canon, you're about to lose to Sony. And when one camera brand gets all the power, the only loser is the consumer. For me, the Canon M line still stands as the pinnacle of Canon's mirrorless line. Small and useful, easy, and it adapts third-party lenses. The kit zooms and the kit lenses compared to what they just send out are just more useful. They start from 15mm, not 18 like the new one. They're smaller, they're cheaper, and I still use these M cameras as my main setup for my YouTube videos, because they're so convenient and the image quality is good enough and the autofocus is good enough and the lens lineup is better than the new R mount. But they stopped the production of the M line. So I stopped investing in Canon, and you should too, until Canon wakes up. I have tested these 3 lenses with the new adapter. The old Magic drain pipe, this EFS lens, the 60mm macro from Canon, and this third-party Tokina wide-angle zoom. I just sold the wide-angle zoom from Tokina, but I've tested it and it works better than the drain pipe, but not quite as good as the EFS. But it works in video too. Now I'm going to test the EFS 60mm macro from Canon on the Sony A7 IV. And I'm only testing it with the subject tracking, but the face and eye detect will work even better. I'm testing it in full frame mode so you can see the vignette. I'm gonna test this lens with the CVE 10-2, and here I'm gonna use face and eye detect. Both of these situations shows reliable autofocus. Now let's test the drain pipe. This is a bit of another story. Both lenses you can hear the autofocus motor working, and it's pretty loud compared to the new mirrorless lenses. But here the drain pipe is on the A7 IV again with subject tracking. It works, but it's kind of sluggish and slow, but it's a really old lens. They started making it in 1989 and stopped in 1995. So the motors at that time was not that good. And remember, this is the version 2 of the Zucchini lens. This was all from the old guy. Bye.